Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels, and yes, we're going back to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we get going, the usual disclaimers. First off, in the description box, folks, we have the article, because we be petty, written by NeuroClastic, in which case they surveyed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to JRC's quote-unquote behavioral treatment program, over which the JRC has threatened a defamation lawsuit. Please read that article and share it on all your social media. We also have linked their public statement on that threat. And at the bottom of the page, we have our GoFundMe. Yes, we are crowdfunding, folks. In case JRC decides to see through their threat, we're going to show them we stand with NeuroClastic and we will not be silenced about the atrocities they commit against disabled people every single day. If you can give anything, please do. If you can't, I understand. Believe me, I'm Poe. Just please share on all your social media, all right? We also have the other pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign, including Autistic Hoya's massive archive on the subject, the templates, and the ever-present self-explanatory change.org Shut the Judge Rotenberg Center Down petition. Folks, when we discuss the JRC, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of peoples with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones, all right? Also, it is 8:13 a.m. in the morning. I am exhausted. I am brain dead. If I stumble over my words, my apologies in advance. For those of you who follow my channel for the autism stuff, and you're wondering why in the name of God I'm following the JD versus AH case. Folks, this case is extremely important to us. And I encourage you to please go watch Incredibly Average Brian. Go watch that Umbrella Guy. Johnny's one of us. And the media is lying to you. They're doing the same thing to him that it is done to us, that it is done to the victims of the JRC, that it's done to the whistleblowers of the JRC, that it's done to any advocate that stands against ABA. They have gaslighted him, vilified him, tried to call him a monster, just like they've done to so many of us before him. We've all seen the interviews where they have sympathy for parents that murder their autistic kids and Autism Mom TM. It's the same gaslighting bullshit. And the audios and everything do indeed expose it all. Okay? He could have very easily, in one incident or two, ended up on that disabilitymemorial.org page, okay? Please look into it. The reason why it is important that he wins is because if he wins, he will be the first one of us that I have knowledge of in recent memory to be able to finally have one of us get justice at least. Okay? Now, back to where we left off yesterday. The June report states that the integrity of the behavioral programming at JRC is not sufficiently monitored by appropriate professionals at the school, and in many cases, the background preparation of the staff is not sufficient to oversee the intensive treatment of children with challenging and emotional behavioral problems. This has been noted, by the way, by more than just the New York report. It has been noted several times and throughout the years, and is in fact why the schools in Rhode Island and California were closed, as well as the atrocities that were committed against the children in those two facilities. But let's remember, these folks get a week training for mental health staff. I love how the JRC just likes to invent terms that literally don't exist anywhere else. It's direct care staff. And the fact that you give direct care staff over those with, as you want us to believe, complicated pasts, you're going to give them a week's training and throw them in? Just saying. JRC employs 16 clinicians who oversee the programs of 234 students. 13 of these clinicians have a doctorate in psychology and 3 have a master's degree in psychology. This represents a high ratio of doctoral level clinicians to JRC's total of 234 students. 4 clinicians are licensed by Massachusetts psychologists and 6 are in the process of obtaining licensure in Massachusetts. 3 of the doctoral level clinicians are also board certified behavioral analysts. Oh yes, that makes me feel fucking better. Really. JRC, if this is a fact, it makes it worse, right? You understand how this is worse? Well, let me enlighten you just in case. The fact that you are trying to say that we have all these doctorate level people that are overseeing things, and yet somehow they're never fucking present when the shit goes down, and the shit's going down constantly. When you have that many DESI reports going in every single fucking school year, and a good majority of the time, these so-called doctorate level clinicians are nowhere to be fucking found on the grounds, you have to excuse New York if they have their reservations, okay? If this is true and you're not gaslighting us, again, you understand how that makes this worse, right? Right? One would hope, right? But let's go on. JRC's total of 13 clinicians with doctoral level training in psychology compares favorably with other programs. For example, in May 2005, a similar program in New York with approximately 123 students did not have doctoral level clinicians and only 5 master's levels clinicians. The majority of their behavioral specialists had only a BA. And yet they still had less incidents. Your appeal to authority to try to, channel your so-called superiority falls on its face. And the reason why is the numbers and the math, JRC. If this is true, and yet you still have double the fucking incidence of any other state in the country, something's wrong there. So you are either lying or you've indoctrinated these clinicians inside your brainwash system and kept them inside the JRC and never had them do clinic hours anywhere else but the fucking JRC, to the point that they be brainwashed. You made them drink the Kool-Aid. They're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. They probably need psychologists and psychiatrists at this point. You see how that's worse, right? When you're talking about a program that has less doctorate level clinicians that yet have lower incidence than you do. And when you compare it across all 50 states from the same time period, same severe quote-unquote disabilities, not as many quote-unquote doctorate level clinicians, and yet less incidents, that should probably tell you something about the failures of your behavioral program. But the JRC never wants to admit fault. They don't want to admit that their program is batshit insane. But moving on. Many of the JRC's clinicians had experience working in residential settings prior to joining the JRC. Is that a fact? I want paperwork. JRC's executive director, who closely supervises the entire program, has over 30 years' experience, and yet somehow is never anywhere for anyone to ever be able to find. And that's been noted time and fucking again, going all the way back to the goddamn 80s. You tout your experience, and yet these people are never anywhere to be found. Instead, you push forward your fucking brainwashed Parents Association to try and convince us, instead of bringing out these quote-unquote experts. You have to wonder why. You can't appeal to authority on one hand and then push out people who are not professionals, who have never worked in the field, on the other. You know what I mean? Director of Clinical Services has almost 17 years of experience working with this population. 14 of the clinicians are full-time and 2 work part-time. All new clinicians are supervised for at least a year, during which time their supervisor must sign off on all treatment changes before they can directly oversee their own caseloads. Again, you see how this is worse, right, JRC? You see how this is worse. You say they got this degree, that degree, that degree, this degree, that degree, this degree, and all this experience. Yet your school has the highest incident rates in the entire fucking country from 2006 to currently. You see how that's worse, right? The direct care staff must pass a rigorous 2-week training before they are placed on schedule. Yes, 1 week of training and then 1 week of learning how to use the GED device, we know. Nowhere else in the fucking country does direct care staff have anything less than at least a solid month of training. 2 weeks for basic, 2 weeks of learning how to deal with people with developmental disabilities and mental health issues. At least a solid fucking month. In a good majority of the states. Out here, 6 fucking months. 6 months. I mean, that's it. That's just for medical assistance. Then you get double for direct if you're going into direct care. Direct care staff members are supervised by experienced staff and state-of-the-art digital video recording for all classroom residences, buses, and vans, and ensures that programs are being followed as written. And as they are written, it's still batshit insane. You understand that we are actually complaining about your whole fucking system, right? You understand how your insane behavioral program is actually fucking torture. And that this appeal to authority that you're trying to pull here actually makes you look worse, not better, right? Right? Like, one would hope that you would understand that, but the JRC are so fucking brainwashed that it is, I might as well be proselytizing here to the wall. They have bought so much into the Kool-Aid that they actually think this makes them look better and like this is a legitimate argument. You can list all the degrees in the fucking world, but degrees don't make those incident reports go away. It doesn't make court case after court case go away. It doesn't make the deaths of 6 students go away. It doesn't make the documented, reported with medical documents cases of starvation, 3rd-degree fucking burns, catatonia, and PTSD go away. So you can have all this experience in the world, and the fact that your incidents go up, not down, the fact that your inhumane cruelty is documented by the fucking UN and declared torture by the UN itself, and then you appeal to authority. You see how this is worse, right? And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and close out for this morning. We don't get very many views on this channel, especially on this subject. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit that like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time this morning. And as always, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.